may have heard it said that clothes make the man. In our study today on the Levitical priesthood, we find out that the clothes reveal the man. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3, the Torah portion, Tetzaveh. Let's go to Shemot, or Exodus, chapter number 28, and let's read verse number 2. And it says, "You shall make set-apart garments for Aaron your brother." The Scripture's translation says, "for esteem and for comeliness." What does that mean? Why do the garments have esteem and comeliness? Well, the priestly role here requires set-apart garments for kavod, is the right Hebrew word, and Ferret, the Hebrew word for comeliness or splendor. Kavod and Ferret are attached to the garments and not necessarily the man. And so it is when the human being who fulfills the role and the requirements of the Kohen Hagadol, the high priest, as he puts the garments on, he is then able to function in the role. He cannot just on a whim say, I'm not wearing that today. I'm going to wear something a little different. No. The garments are his license to be able to function in his role and to traffic in the set-apart environment of the Mishkan. These garments are very particular, and it's for the purpose of an understanding that as he moves throughout his course of duties throughout the day, he is walking in revelation as a living picture of one that he is representing. Don't forget, the Mishkan that Moshe and Israel constructed and assembled in the wilderness is a replicate of the model that is already in existence in the heavenlies. And so as there is a high priest in the heavenlies who is in operation and moving and serving and honoring the one who sits on the throne, so then there also needs to be a mirrored reaction on the earth. The whole goal of the Mishkan experience is to mirror properly on the earth that which is taking place in the heavenlies. Matter of fact, that's still our requirement and our calling now, is to so align our lives, to align the body of Messiah in such a way that we mirror that and reflect that which is heavenly. It's a tall order, but the Mishkan experience helps us to get that accomplished. Now, let's break this down just a little bit. The two words, let's start with kavod. It's often understood to mean the idea of heaviness or weightiness. The kavod, we can call it glory, we can call it esteem. It might be understood as the manifested light and presence of the Most High, also called the Shekinah. And so with that understanding, it's a tangibleness. We're not talking about merely goosebumps or hair standing up. It is that sudden awareness of whose presence you're standing in and the weight, the magnitude of what or who you've just stepped in to encounter. In Isaiah chapter 43 in verse 2, we read, "And see the kavod, the glory, the esteem, the heaviness of the Elohim of Israel came from the way of the east, and his voice was like the sound of many waters, and the earth shone from his kavod." Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter 9, verse 23. "And Moshe and Aaron went into the tent of appointment and came out and blessed the people, and the esteem, the glory, the kavod of Yahweh appeared to all the people." So his glory is something physically manifested enough that the people saw something. We don't have a description of what they saw, but they saw something. So this presence of Yah is his kavod, it's his heaviness, it's the esteem of his honor. Now, Ferret takes a little bit more explanation, and we need to put our thinking caps on. You may need to rewind to this part a few times. It is deep. hang with me. You can get this. Let's start at a very deep rabbinical commentary level of this, talking about how that we are comprised inwardly as beings, created beings of Yah. We have three components, at least in this way of thinking, three components. The first being our Nefesh. If you're taking notes and want to write this down, we would transliterate that N-E-F-E-S-H, our Nefesh. This refers to what we commonly call our soul. We have often heard perhaps it identified, your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And I've also heard that after that explanation that mankind has a soul, but the animal kingdom does not. Anyone who's ever owned a pet knows that that pet's got a mind of its own, a will of its own, and it definitely has emotions. Try hiding its food bowl for a little while. You'll hear some emotions. Even the animal kingdom, in that sense, has a soul. Well, our souls go to heaven, right? Or our souls go into eternity. It's a bit of a misunderstanding here. Your soul is that which is connected to your ability to perform basic physical realm opportunities, endeavors, job descriptions. It is that inward functioning, realizing, seeing, and analyzing style part of you. So it helps us get through the physical realm dimension of life. Secondly, we have our Ruach. Most of you will understand this means breath. It can mean breath. It can mean wind. It can bring to mind the Spirit. And here's where we're talking about the Spirit. When Yah breathed His breath into man, He breathed a spirit into man. The spiritual quality of man is that part which has discernment, that part which has an ability to connect to some elementary level to the spiritual realm. Even those who walk sinfully have a spirit that functions enough that they can begin to discern the need that they have of being born again and changing their lives. So there is in all men a spiritual dimension that functions. We've heard phrases like, well, it just broke his spirit, or it encouraged his spirit. And so there is a spiritual dimension to us. Now we get to the interesting part, a neshama. If again you're taking notes, we would transliterate this N-E-S-H-A or N-E-S-H-E-M-A-H, neshama. This is the different and the unique part of us. Everybody has a nefesh and a ruach. But the neshama is that additional part of man that is awakened when we're born again. That is, a new spirit or a new spiritual dimension has become awakened, enlivened. It's come forward in us. Now we can not only discern things, but we can discern Him. And our spirit connects with His spirit. The deep of us and the depth of Yah is making a connection. This is the part of us that functions in the gifting of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. This is where your gifts are abiding in you. And so the neshama part of us is that which connects with the Holy Spirit. That's very important. So now that we understand what Tiferet is, or Tiferet is, the high priest walks in this. It's interesting that in the depths of rabbinical commentaries, on the right side of Yah, they see His quality and characteristics examined as mercy that connects to the soul, judgment on the left-hand side that connects with the spirit, where we discern what's right and wrong, judging that. In the middle is the balance of the two, mercy and judgment, judgment and mercy, harmony, balance. Tiferet, it's called. He's called because it also, they recognize, references Messiah. When the high priest walked in garments of glory or splendor, and Tiferet is a connection to the Ruach HaKodesh, it was revealing who the Messiah was ministering in the heavenly altar. Think about it. More tomorrow. To then, shalom.